The presentation will focus on media and Western representation of Arabs highlights. So the following highlights are how the Arab world is portrayed, image of an Arab man, image of an Arab woman, Arabs seen as terrorists, and 9/11 influence. First, let's talk about how the Arab world is portrayed. So, the West promotes the stereotypes for Arabs and Muslims. Muslims and Arab stereotypes have existed since well before the advancement of cinema. In 18th and 19th century, European artists and writers caricatured the Middle East as full of desolate deserts, corrupt places, and angry Arabs. These images were used later in the Hollywood and creations of many movies. The Arab world in Hollywood. Hollywood has stereotyped, marginalized, silenced, and downright Arabs since its inception. Uh, Hollywood and American cinema portray the Arab world as exotic, wild, not civilized, full of conflicts, wars, and poverty. They show Arabs as living on deserts, being poor, and riding camels. They also portray them as ready to kill for their religion and beliefs, perform terrorist attacks in the Western world. Also, the Arab world was seen as the other and different culture. Hollywood has always portrayed the Arab society as the other culture that is different and threatening to the civilized Westerners in terms of race and religion, and also depicted as brutal and uncivilized. Image of an Arab man. In countless movies, Arabs are invariably stereotyped as murderers, rapists, oil-rich men, abusers of women, and jihadists. Their image is also associated with long black beards, with pointy noses, riding camels, oases, deserts. Women are associated with belly dancer as submissive to the men. This this stereotype image is used really often in American movies. Men are also associated, Arabs are also associated with weapon, cries to Allah. Um, a typical image that is associated with an Arab man is a sheikh. Um, sheikh is defined as a wise elderly person, head of family, um, In early to mid-century films, sheikhs have been presented as tribal chiefs and indolent, perverted rulers who lunge on thrones. More recently, sheikhs, they have been shown as rich, corrupt, oily, militant, wearing Ray-Ban sunglasses and riding expensive cars, right? Like Mercedes, Rolls-Royce, Audis. Uh, Here's the image of how the Western world is portraying Arabs. In only few films, such as Syriana, Arab leaders have been shown more three-dimensionally and realistically, opposite to the most of the Western movies. Image of an Arab woman. Arab women are really often seen as maidens. Um, they are seen as Arab women are humiliated and demonized in a number of features. They often appear as bosomy belly dancers luring out from veils, um, are closed in the palace's women's quarters. Other stereotypes include willingness to submit to their owners, as if they relish their sexual mistreatment and enslavement. Um, Also appearing as shapeless bundles of black, um, or a homogeneous sea of covered women. Um, they are being labeled as black magic vamps. Um, um, how they're and here's the image of how many Westerners think how the Arab woman looks like. What is a really misleading image, because how they dress, how they act also depends on the tradition, and it's really misleading to think about the whole Middle East as one place, one culture, one religion. Um, Aladdin is a movie that was um, is a movie that was released in 1992. Um, the movie draws on both Arab folktales, including 1001 Nights, as well as traditional Western notions of Arabs and the Middle East. Despite some complaints from Arab groups that the film was racist, it grossed $212 million to become the biggest hit of the year. Aladdin and stereotypes. So the movie features a number of common Hollywood stereotypes of Arabs and the Middle East, uh, including depicting Arabs as greedy, patriarchal savages, depicting the desert and the region as desolate, dirty, and dangerous, depicting Arab women erotically and exotically, and depicting Arabs um, as rulers that are weak, out of touch, and foolish. Um, Arabs right now are seen as terrorists. They also are portrayed as terrorists in many video games, movies. They're presented as people that are blowing themselves out, conduct attacks, terroristic attacks in the Western world. Here's an image of how many people see Arabs. 9/11 influence. So 9/11 is defining geopolitical, economic, military, and cultural moment. It redefined the West's relationship with the Middle East or in the Muslim world. Media influence increased the negative image of Arabs by Westerners. Since 9/11, the Western world always associate terrorism with Arabs and think that every terrorist is an Arab. It was really misleading. Terrorist movies are portrayed as crazy religious fanatics that are ready to blow themselves up in the name of the Allah. And here's an image in caricature how many Westerners think about Arabs. Um, this is really misleading perception of Arabs because, as I stated before, we cannot associate a handful group of men over the whole Middle East.